Welcome back everyone to the finale episode of Let's Play Rule the Waves as Great Britain. So this was definitely a series plagued by misfortune, also plagued by, well not plagued by, but supported by the Fortune class. This, however, is the really sad remains of the Royal Navy. When Admiral Tortuga, who had been commanding it for 31 years, probably he was an old decrepit fool by the time he was ousted, after the failed war with France, and who wouldn't be ousted if you're British and you fail in your war against France, you know, that's really curtains for you. And as it will be for us now. So we aren't even left with a single capital ship after France and the United States ganged up and defeated us one more time. I at least like that there was a pretty consistent theme, almost like a world you can imagine, realistic, that we kept going to war with the same nations. It probably doesn't make sense for Great Britain to go to war with every single one of these nations, although there was that war when we were up against Germany, France, and the United States. I mean, if we ever want to know when this started to go off the rails, I'm pretty sure I can point back to that really failed war where we lost a lot of Caribbean holdings, and that might have been to... It'd be funny if this was an actual reality, if this world, fictitious world that we're simulating was actually fully played out, if it was real. It'd be really interesting to take a look back on the fall, the decline of the British Empire, and try to pin down when exactly it happened. But I suspect that a lot of people would be looking at that, the war against the Three, or whatever we want to call it, where that's where we first started losing ground, and the momentum never returned to our favor from there. So, in this video, we'll be doing kind of a recap of the series. I already kind of started doing that there, but the important other highlights is we'll be going through some of the other fan stuff and all the stuff that people contributed, a lot of stuff by Josh Street, thanks so much to him. Other people as well, which we'll be mentioning. Going through some various stuff, various other submission stuff. And then the important thing I'm sure people want to know about is Tortuga Powers Rule the Waves series as Italy. Interesting. So I'll let you know a little bit about how to submit your ship for the next series coming up very soon. But let's start, probably if you're interested only in that, if you were only interested in looking at this video, this is kind of like the summarizing remark I make, and if you're not really interested in seeing, like, if you're only interested in the gameplay, then this video is not really that important. So let me, for your sake, I'm not going to tease it and make you wait to the end. Let me just say that the form will be linked somewhere, either a pinned post by myself or in the video description. So if you want to put your name on the list, I'm 99% sure, okay, that's probably way too high. I'm 80% sure that people who put their name on the list when this video is coming out, even within like a week of it being posted, are going to have a ship in the next series. And it's supposed to be a collaboration with Stoic Frog Gaming, but I wanted to wait with this video until I heard back from him. It's been so many months. This well, I guess that's kind of correct. This British series has gone on for so many months that Dr. Zayas actually forgot about our potential series together, and he's now busy with other things. So that's unfortunate that we actually took so long that we rooted out him from the possibility of the collaboration. So I'm going to have to rethink how the next series goes. It might just be another solo series as Italy. And I'm just going to probe the collaboration options one more time, see if there's anything really that stands out, but probably I'll go solo once again. And we'll do the normal like 2-3 week break, just to mix in some other content on the channel in the meantime. So I got sidetracked and wanted to shortcut this for other people. Yeah, I'm just talking about the Italian series. So the forum link will be there. Also, there's going to be links, I think, to some of this stuff if you're interested in like seeing the Rule the Wave stuff that people have done. Oh, not to this. I'm going to go through the list of responses. That'll probably be one of the last things. That's probably only going to be like for 10, 20, 30 seconds because I just want to show that we did a pretty good job of getting through all those names. More names by far than even the Japanese playthrough. I think we're over 150, so the names keep pouring in, and we do our best to knock them out. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so what do I want to talk about next? Let's talk about the conclusion of the series, and then we'll get to the fan content. So let's see. I don't think, as far as the strategies we employed in this, I don't find anything that we did particularly outstanding, good or bad. One of the ships that, well, I mean, we can go down the ship sunk list. I want to look at the Renown, actually, yes. One of the ships which was one of the most standout in terms of unique design was this Renown class, which didn't have any secondaries. It did allow us to equip a pretty sizable armament. We got an 8 14-inch broadside at only 24,000 tons. It's a pretty darn good ship. And I think it was I think I designed it at 19 knots. I'm not sure I can open the design. Let's open it this way. I think I designed it at 19 knots and actually just got that extra. So this is it at its, yeah, I designed it at 19 knots, so it got that extra 20th knot just because of good shipbuilding, you know, basically luck of the game. So it was not a bad design, I think, in the end. I'm trying to look a little bit more into the mechanics of 5 and 6 inch guns, 14 guns, the shell weight, all these things. LightningDragon he's kind of like prompting me to do so. So it's at his interest that I am becoming more interested myself, looking at those things. But this was, I think, the most standout design we had. All the other designs we had, pretty straightforward. Let's see. I feel like this Fortune class, which I kind of do a ship like this every time with only a really small belt, reasonable deck armor, and usually reasonable turret armor as my battle cruiser. Just the idea is to run away from anything we can't go toe-to-toe with, and also that if we have high enough arcing shells, belt won't be as important as deck. But I'm starting to feel, even though a lot of the shells can penetrate like even 10 or 11 inch armor, I'm getting this feeling from the game, from playing it like for so many hours, that the oblique angle of shells must be modeled, some kind of random number, where you can actually get a lot of stops with the belt armor the higher it is. So even though the statistics we see oftentimes, let's just go back to anything here. For the gun data, I think this is for a completely perpendicular hit to the armor, so dead on. And that means that, sure, okay, a completely perpendicular hit, even my 14-inch guns, even quality 0, will be penetrating 15 inches of armor at 15,000 yards, but that is obviously only dead on. If you have somewhat of an angled shot, the potential thickness of the armor, I mean, literally the angle, if you come in at this angle, let's say that this box is the width of my armor. If I go through like this, we're going through what? Let's just call this 10 inches of armor. But if I go through this, like, well, look how much more I'm doing. This diagonal, take our a squared plus b squared equals c squared type stuff, whatever. So you're increasing the depth of your armor. So plus that's not even counting the fact that shells are more likely to ricochet if they're not dead on. They have a slanted nose themselves, and if you have, you can actually just, they'll slide off the surface of the armor almost. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into detail about that, but that's one of the things that I'm starting to realize more, is that belt armor, basically in the late game, is probably more important than I give it credit for. So I've always been looking at those numbers and saying, hey, it's just impossible to do any kind of penetration stopping with armor, so might as well go for little armor and just rely on tonnage as my hit points. And now I'm reconsidering that, at least slightly. I still think in the early game armor is king, and in the late game guns are king. Also, a revelation with looking at the gun data with LightningDragon again, the rate of fire for 16, 17, and 18, and it might even have been 15, is identical, which is weird. But that means that there's no reason to go for 16 over 17 if you're looking for better rate of fire. And I don't have that. It might be in his ship stats. I'm not sure yeah, this is just ship stats itself. It's not not the actual gun data, which we pulled from somewhere. I can't remember where, but something from the forums. Anyways, these are all things to consider for the Italian playthrough. So we'll be making a few changes. Okay, then is there anything I want to talk about in terms of the world map or whatever? I think we just retire, which is the fun of this, resign, right? I'm going to try to keep this video at or just barely over 20 minutes. So, is there anything else we want to look at? We're really leaving the Empire in ruins. But not so bad. I mean, we've lost a lot of holdings, but it's not so terrible. In real life, Great Britain really did lose a lot of holdings as nations began to free themselves. But Southeast Asia has been intensely strengthened. So we are basically just, I kind of like that. You know, if we lose some provinces in the Caribbean and on the East Coast, let's just transfer those let's consolidate our position, basically. You know, especially if you think about things in terms of this game. If we consolidate on a sea zone, it's going to make foreign stations not such a mother effing disaster, to put it somewhat diplomatically. Okay, now let's resign. I don't know, well, we can look at the almanac first. Yeah, we have 43 of these in building, which is kind of funny. Even that total tonnage is less than what Germany already has afloat, which is crazy. 43 of our ships would still, I mean, because a lot of these are Glinder class, but we can't actually get them built, which is very saddening. 14 battle cruisers as well being built. That would be not quite king, the United States with 921,000 already. Yeah. It's really sad, really sad. 600,000, we are actually doing better than everyone but the United States. That's where we should be. I'm just really not sure how Germany is supporting so many ships on a smaller budget than I am. I mean, I have crazy budget issues. I'm abusing my budget with the exploits to no end. Germany, presumably not doing that, is, I don't know. Maybe I'll post on the forums and kind of ask how the budget works with the AI. Are they, I don't know that they cheat, but I now highly suspect that they do somehow. I know that ship designs, they were given a little wiggle room, but I didn't think they actually cheated in terms of the way their maintenance for ships is calculated and all that. But maybe it's true. Okay, well, hopefully that was enough interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and resign. I mean, about the World Almanac. Aha. So, prestige, this kind of probably tells the tale, right? If I'm not mistaken, this was actually with Germany as well. Maybe they don't include the third. And then we went to war with France over here as well. Yeah, fleet tonnage, make sure you guys are seeing this. Yeah, so this is probably going to be really what tells a story here. Our fleet tonnage was never as high as either Germany or the United States after the Second War with the Americans. Actually, we actually wore down the Americans in this war. Which I actually think that's probably one of the ones where we started sinking some of their ships, but we got I don't think we got a favorable. They were still taking our colonies, and then this one ended. That was it. It was all down to colony invasions. If you turned off the colony invasion mechanic for this series, we are 100% successful. I mean, despite the misfortune, the random events that didn't go our way, without the colony invasions, the series is just much more successful. Alright, so economy-wise, again, this is going to tell a real story. The fact that Germany ever was elevated over us is just a weird thing. It's pretty weird. Now, people were asking me if I would do an American playthrough. It's the easiest nation to play as, I think. So it would be kind of a stomp. People are asking me if I would stream. If I stream the United States, I'm not going to be able to fight the battles. Because you just cannot stream. I mean, look at it. We're 40-something episodes in to finish a series. That's like 40 times 30 if we just want to be very loose calculation. It's probably much more than that. But even that, we're looking at 1,200. That can't be right. That can't be right. So somebody tell me I'm not right. Oh, yeah, 1,200 minutes. Okay, woo, 1,200 hours. So that's also a nice, easy number for us to calculate. 1,200 is still 60. That can't be right. It should be 20 hours. I know the math should come out to 20 hours because if you have videos which are 30 minutes, it's just half an hour. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. So we probably did like 20, 25 hours. You can see that this is much more than a stream could handle. And I'm pretty sure it's more than that because we have a lot of videos going for 30, 40, 50 minutes, etc. Alright, so summary of ships lost. We actually sank more of the American heavy ships than we lost ourselves by a fair margin here. And this is us against everybody. So in this sense, this was a success. And that's how we'll choose to think of it as. We still somehow managed to get an aircraft carrier, even though we only had a prestige of 40. One of my lowest playthroughs ever, you can see. We ended in the normal amount of time, and we still only finished with 42 prestige. We can see that Tortogo, still my best playthrough. I don't really go for prestige, though, so it's not really a big deal. And Japan is a really fun nation to play as if you're considering that. Okay, so let's get to the other stuff real fast. I'm just going to go through the stuff. This is, by the way, when we fill out the forms, just remember, I have a note on there, but just remember, this was done within the first, like, 2 or 3 days of the form being posted. Most people are going to go for battlecruisers and dreadnoughts, and I think that if you do that on the form from this video, you'll be okay, but consider leaving a backup option. So if the way it's going to work, the form is going to work in this upcoming series, because it takes too long for me to go through the list. You're only allowed to only pick 2 types of ships. Basically, your primary and then your backup. And I think I have it out of order. I'll fix this. It's going to be BC and then BB and then CA and then B. Basically, it's going to be in the order. I think it might... Is it going to alphabetically order? Let's see if it does. Does it alphabetically? I think... Oh, it doesn't, because B is there. Yeah, so I'm going to orient the choices in order of, like, priority. Just based on this list exactly, actually. It's going to go BC, then BB, then CA, then B, then CL, and then DD. And I'm taking off, oh, I think I left Minesweeper on there, but I'm taking off these 2 because I'm not going to rename these. I don't even make these, and I'm not going to rename submarines. So that's going to be your list. And I'll allow people who lose a ship to maybe get in as a Minesweeper. But so the order, you're just going to pick 2. And the first one's going to be your priority. And the second one's going to be your backup. Or maybe it might even, forget that. That's already too complicated. It's just going to be this. Excuse me. Pick as many as you want. But I am going to give you the first opening that I see. I'm going to go down the list and in order. If I'm looking for CLs, I'm just going to grab the first CL I see. So if you choose BB, BC, B, CA, CL, and a CL becomes open, even if you're like 5th on the list and definitely would get a battlecruiser, I'll probably just pick you for CL. Just because I don't, this is basically making the situation a little bit worse for you guys, but at great expense for my time. I mean, at great benefit for my time. So I don't have to sit there and try to work out all the math of like, okay, if I pick this person, are they going to get in with this category? I just don't have time to do that, so just pick your ship, and if you are watching this video, like I said, you're more than likely you're going to be able to get one of the top ships that you want. Alright, that's that. This was the Incompetent Idiot. Did this a while ago. This is 1918, so we'll just pretend that this is when Tortuga retired, and then some other incompetent assistant, whoever that might be, took over for the last failure of a war. Josh Street, can't say enough about his designs, the work he puts into every one of these. They're beautiful. He lists all of their, like, everything. This hasn't been updated for about 10 years in game time. But it's really, really impressive the amount of work that goes into this. And Josh Street actually messaged me to even apologize for not, look at the Albion class, looks beautiful, for not keeping this up to date more. And I guess he was suffering a little bit from maybe depression, or, you know, just wasn't able to do it for reasons. And I just want to say thank you so much to him. Thank you so much to him, because he's like constantly providing these wonderful images that allow us to, you know, better role play the world that this rule the wave system is happening. So thanks to him a lot. The Glinder class, My favorite is not... Oh, that's the Renown. So it's actually got pretty good guns. Glyndor class should have smaller guns, and it does. He does all this so well. Eden class, the Achilles class I'm looking for. Where is it? Okay, there's the Fortune class, which should be slightly smaller than the Ajax class. And indeed, she is. Although the guns look about the same. Were they built... What was this? 15-inch? No. The Ajax was 16-inch guns, right? So I think the gun should have been a little bit bigger. This gun actually looks bigger than this one, even. But we're getting nitpicky, right? I'm pretty sure, though. Maybe not. Anyway, is the Achilles in here? There she is. I thought this was really well designed as well. Looks beautiful. It's a beautiful ship. Okay, and then last, he also included the Victoria class Super Dreadnought, which this is probably my favorite design that he's done for the series. It was really impressive. Look at he's going out the British, what is it called? The Jack. Excuse me. So, beautiful. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show for pictures. Now let's go through. This is Josh Street. If you're interested in this, I'll post a link for this. He went through every ship that was deployed. You can find you're in here somewhere. So I think Satori, Johan Satori was asking, was he in the game? He was, I swear. But his ship isn't appearing. That backfired horribly. Were you in the game? I could have sworn. I thought you were a CA, maybe. Johan, did I not get you in, or were you a CL? Were you sunk or possibly scrapped? Did this show scrap ships? It doesn't. Yeah, if it was a CA, it was probably scrapped. Well, I don't remember. Sorry, Johan. But this list basically includes... I thought I didn't even... Oh, it did stop at some point, but it includes a lot of the ships that were in the game. So it really hats off again to Josh Street. Next we have the Rule the Waves ship stats that's compiled by LightningDragon. So he has Japan, Spain, Britain, Russian, and if you're wondering what this is all my previous playthroughs. So the Britain one is this, the current one we're in. And this is something we could actually back out some information for, like what is maintenance compared to crew, compared to displacement, guns. I think you could sit down and analyze this and get some useful information. I won't do that here on camera, but I will also, assuming I have permission to, post a link for this, and then people can look at it if you want. If you want to try to figure out any kind of relation between maintenance and engine size or tonnage versus guns, who knows, whatever. But it's all here if you're interested. If you're a spreadsheet rat like I am. How did we do on the responses? See, it says Satori was the second person to actually, apply for a name, so I'm sure he got in there with whatever his top choice was, which was probably I gave him a CA because he readjusted this at some point. Remember, I asked if people wanted to adjust their things to add more CLs after I showed that scary graphic. So we had a few. Munchies, if you're watching, I ended up not including you. I think I was going to give you a CL in the end, but just because this name was not quite appropriate, and I thought we had an Enterprise. Oh, Lucas Mulders, if you're watching and I didn't get an Enterprise for you, I don't know why that got skipped, because we went to... Actually, these might have been light cruisers, but... the Victory, I included this. I'm considering this the Victoria class. So we made it pretty far. 196 total. We had some people even submitting August 17th, so just recently. But now just... Oh, Denizen, here you are. Shoot. Oh, Agamemnon. I got that one. Okay, good. So Denizen is a supporter, so that's why he was fast-tracked. And remember, if you want to be at the top of the list always and forever, you just have to be a supporter for that. And there's obviously, you get your name in if you're not a supporter, so there's not a whole lot of pressure. And that's it. That'll bring us back to the form. This is what it's going to look like. The list for BC and also BB tends to be very long, followed by CA, then B. Consider choosing CL or another ship. Come on, Tortuga. Especially if the list has been out for a while. But that's it. I'll post this list. I'll post this thing. This is going to conclude the series as Great Britain. Good riddance, really, in the end. And I will dig a little bit about the collaboration. Probably start it solo, that's my guess, in 3 weeks or so. So until then, thanks so much for watching. I mean, you've made it this far. It's really a feat. There should be an achievement. YouTube should have achievements for people watching an entire series. And oh yeah, of course, at the end of every series, of course, I really take the comments seriously. If you have a suggestion about another game coming out, this is how I think I heard about Cold Waters. It definitely is the way I heard about Atlantic Fleet. So if there's a new game coming out, you're interested in seeing me play it, or you think it'd be a good fit for the channel, or even if you just want to recommend it for playing, not even for the channel, but just a game I might enjoy. I love those recommendations. And of course I take the comments on the final video of a series very seriously, since these people, they're the most, if you've made it this far, you're the most interested in my content compared to anybody else, right? Which means that we probably have the greatest Venn diagram overlap in terms of interest. So it just makes sense for me to value your comments a little bit more. Alright, but that's going to do it for me. So again, my sincere gratitude if you've decided to watch this far. You crazy people. And until the next one, until the next series, whatever it is, probably won't be Rule the Waves immediately. Aurora 4X will be coming out soon. But whatever it is, smooth sailing. And remember that we originally said we're never going to retreat in this thing, but we didn't take it too seriously. I would like the new motto for Italy will be Patria et Onore. I think it's for something in honor. Fatherland in honor? Something. Who knows? But that's a lot less, it doesn't root me into any type of play, right? I can retreat as much as I want. Which, being Italian, might be a little appropriate. Shots fired. Sorry. Alright guys, well, thanks so much for watching once again. And until the next video or series or whatever it is, take care.